Welcome. This is a mostly visual overview of calculating cost of goods sold. First of all, for a merchandiser or a retailer, and then for a manufacturer. So you'll have a beginning inventory and an ending inventory and your balance sheets. And then you can, if you're given the purchases, you can then calculate from the beginning inventory plus the purchases. That gives you the cost of goods that are available for sale. The difference between that and the ending inventory, of course, is what you're going to calculate as the cost of goods sold, because that's the amount of goods that went out the door, as it were. So you start with beginning inventory, you add the purchases, you end with the ending inventories, and the difference is the cost of goods sold. The equation, beginning inventory plus purchases equals cost of goods sold plus ending inventory, or turning it around, cost of goods sold equals beginning inventory plus purchases minus ending inventory. Now, for a manufacturer, we don't have purchases of goods for sale. We have to create the goods for sale with our manufacturing. What we have, though, is direct materials. And using the same kind of pattern, we have beginning inventory of direct materials and an ending inventory. Then we have the purchases of those direct materials. And here, again, we can calculate the direct materials used for manufacturing. And the equation, as you'll see, is the same structure. The direct materials, therefore, is the beginning inventory plus the purchases minus the ending inventory, which you can see visually again here. When you say here's the beginning plus the purchases gives you this, you subtract the ending inventory, and then you're given the direct materials used. Just throwing numbers into this one example, we have direct materials are the beginning inventory of 600 plus the 11,800 minus the 300. So it's 12,100. The step 2 for a manufacturer is calculating the total manufacturing costs. We have the direct materials that were used coming out of from the inventories of direct materials. Then we add to that just the labor, the direct labor, and the manufacturing overhead. That gives us the manufacturing costs, and so it tells us how much of costs went into the entire manufacturing. Now, the entire manufacturing will end in we'll have, let's say, two ending inventories. One will be for the unfinished goods or work in process, and the second one will be for the actual finished goods. So calculating the cost of goods manufactured is to calculate how much what is the cost of the finished goods that the manufacturer has made. Again, the same structure. You'll have your beginning inventory with the work in process, and the ending inventory with the work in process. Well, then you add to that the manufacturing costs. That gives us the total amount, and the difference between that and the ending inventory in working in process is the cost of goods manufactured. So this goes out of the work in process inventories and goes into the finished good inventories. So the cost of goods manufactured is beginning inventories plus total manufacturing costs minus ending inventories, again, of the work in process. Again, you'll see it's always the same structure. And for the manufacturer, now we have the cost of goods manufactured. That is equivalent to, for the retailer or for the merchandiser, the amount of purchases. So that we can now calculate the cost of goods sold. And so the final step is cost of goods sold, same structure. We have the beginning inventory of finished goods, the ending inventory of finished goods. But now instead of purchases, we have the cost of goods manufactured. That gives us the total goods available for sale. And if we subtract the ending inventory, we have cost of goods sold. So we're back to the same equation. Instead of purchases for the manufacturer, here we have cost of goods manufactured. And that's our 3-step process beforehand to give us this final step here. So recap of the 4 steps for a manufacturer. Number 1, we calculate the direct materials used. That's simply the beginning inventories plus the purchases minus the ending inventories. That gives us DM. Step 2, we calculate total manufacturing costs by taking the DM plus the direct labor plus the manufacturing overhead. Then we have step 3, where you're calculating the cost of goods manufactured. Again, where you're taking the beginning inventory plus the total manufacturing costs minus the ending inventories. And finally, the 4th step is to calculate cost of goods sold, and that's equal to beginning inventory plus the cost of goods manufactured minus the ending inventory. And there you have it. So thank you for your attention, and I hope that helped.